Chains rattle broken, now we rise. Flag in my hand, stars burn the skies. Truth ain't dead, though the liars try. They scream loud, but the words all die. Guys watching hands, raise to the throne. Freedom ain't free, blood built this home. Continue freedom, keep it alive. Red, white, blue, we bleed to survive. Continue freedom, keep it alive. Land of the free, ain't bending the knee. Truth in my veins, it's all I see. Patriots roar, no fear in the fight. Continue freedom, stand in the light.
Here we are, another live stream. Thank you all so much for being here. The real KC, first one in the comments. There you go. Welcome aboard, KC. Number one like, that's it. You're off the chain. I love it. So we're going to talk about what you saw from the thumbnail, obviously. We're going to talk about some of the latest Candace Owens, we'll say drama, but you saw the title of the video as well. And if you guys remember back, let's look back to Candace Owens circa 3 months ago. Has it been 3 months since Charlie Kirk's assassination? Or I'm off by a month. Either way, back at Charlie Kirk's assassination, she said, the only person that can get me to stop is Erica Kirk. Her words, not mine. She said, I will stop if Erica Kirk tells me to stop. Well, Erica Kirk has finally responded, and I hate that she had to do it. She shouldn't have had to do it, because this is an ongoing investigation. There's a trial in progress. We got, guys, we've talked about this. If you've been watching this show, you all know that we have been talking about this for months now. And yet the pressure, it came down on Erica Kirk, and she responded. She's been going around to multiple news outlets, and we're going to listen to what she said. Hey, from New Zealand. There you go. Okay, I'm going to put up a couple comments. I'm good, and I'll tell you guys what. So if you've watched this show for any length of time, you know I wait till the end to get to comments. However, I'm going to put up the first 4 comments that we've got here because they're good. Well, 3. So, no, Casey, I'll put up yours too. She says, yo, and then she says, number one like. That's right. She was the first one in the chat, first one to hit the like button. And what's up? I'm here to support. Fantastic. I'm building a great audience here, guys. I'm loving it. Absolutely loving the interaction that I'm getting in the chat. So if you're new here, I will give my quick disclaimer. Smash that subscribe button, the like button, and the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video is released. And then the last comment that I'm going to put up before I get into the story is from New Zealand. Here we go. We got some folks from New Zealand. Welcome aboard from, golly, what in the world time is it down in New Zealand? Goodness. You know, before I get into this, I have to tell a personal anecdote that I had an opportunity to go to New Zealand because I was stationed out in Hawaii for a certain period of time, and I didn't do it, and I've regretted it ever since. So welcome from New Zealand. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. We're going to listen to this. It is 5 minutes long, but it is important we listen to it. The verbiage she uses is important. And then we're going to get into the response from Candace Owens, and I'm going to tell you why I titled the video the way I did and why the thumbnail looks the way it looks. Let's get into it.
Of a grieving widow, a mom, and a battle-tested American. Good to see you again today. Talk to me about this part of the conspiracies that are out there, this disturbing part that people are trying to guess where Charlie is.
Can I have one thing? Can I have one thing? Can my children have one thing? Everything was public. We will be building the most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA, and it will be for the world to see, and it will be spectacular, and it will have basically museum style for our Charlie, for my Charlie. But can I have one thing? Can my babies have one thing where we hold it sacred, where my husband is laid to rest, where I don't have to be worried about some secular revolutionary coming and destroying my husband's grave while my daughter is sitting there praying? One thing. This is my husband. Yes, he was Charlie Kirk to the world, and I know so many people love my husband, and I am grateful for that. But this is my husband, and I want to be able to have one thing left that is sacred to our family, to my in-laws, to my babies, and to my parents. One thing.
What are they taking from you right now?
Nothing. But I will tell you what they are doing. It reminds me so much of chapter 6 in the book of Nehemiah. He is building a wall, and the townspeople are at the base of that hill saying, Nehemiah, calling him all these names, saying all these things, come on down. Every single time he had the same message 4 times in a row. I cannot come down. I am busy building. That is how I feel. I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the hand-picked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human. We are all grieving in our own way. And they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard. And I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
You know, I have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus. Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do. We have a hell of a team working on this. Excuse my French. But this is not okay.
So you want to put these people back in the box where they've been creeping from?
I don't care what box you're in. But just know that your words are very powerful, and we are human. My team are not machines, and they're not robots. They are human. We have more death threats on our team and our side than I have ever seen. I have kidnapping threats. You name it, we have it. And my poor team is exhausted. And every time they bring this back up, what are we supposed to do? Relive that trauma all over again? They watched my husband get murdered. I have no idea how I would have reacted if I was there that day. And thank the good Lord that I did not have to see that happen. But my team, they are rocked to the core. So why every single day do they have to be dragged through the mud, analyzed, hyper-analyzed?
You know,
Okay, so I'm going to stop it there, and I'm going to make a couple of things. We're going to get into the Candace response to it. I've already seen somebody in the comments saying that the way that Candace responded to this was evil, was disgusting, and yes, you are 100% correct. The response to this was terrible. But this is Erica Kirk's delivery. Some people have a problem with it. I don't particularly know why, because she's a very emotional person. That's fine. But this is also one of the critiques that you're going to see in a minute, and that is that she is referring to her team, the people that work for her, as her family. If you've ever had exposure to nonprofits, in particular nonprofits that are either Christian focused or are, you know, in any way having some sort of a Christian message, that is not out of the ordinary. That is the way that they treat their day-to-day lives, that it is that, you know, for whatever the nonprofit is, this is the family. This is the organization. People are very close because they're bound together in those instances by their love of Christ. They're bound together by their common faith. They're bound together by, you know, a different set of moral standards than you're going to get in the secular world. And that's just the way it is. That's honest. That doesn't mean they're flawless, but that's what kind of binds those folks together. And so this is how she's approaching it. She's a very strong Christian woman. If her reputation, you know, as her reputation precedes her, that's what she is. And this is a problem, or people had a problem with the way she delivered this message. But now she's finally come out. So she's done multiple interviews. This is the only one that I'll be honest, the only one that I've watched. I've seen snippets of others, but I thought she addressed it perfectly in this one. Now, I will, for those that have just come online, because we've got some new folks on, I think. But at the beginning, I said that Candace Owens, when she started all the madness, said, you know what? I will stop if Erica Kirk says to stop. Now, there is no mistaking who Erica Kirk was talking to in that instance. Obviously, and she said hundreds and thousands of dollars. It's actually hundreds of thousands of dollars that she's making per episode. Boatloads of money, truckloads of money to the woman who is worth hundreds of millions of dollars if you incorporate her husband's wealth, which is, estimates are from 150 million to 200 and some odd million. So there, Erica Kirk, she gives a defense of her team. She gives a defense of her people. And then this is the response that we got from Candace Owens.
I think that is especially
The ex-player.
That is trying to almost like, I want to be clear that Turning Point USA is my family. The Charlie Kirk show is my family. You know, like she's just expanding the wings of people that we're not allowed to critique because they're in the family. If you call them fan, you can't critique them, right? Oh, I'm sorry. We actually are showing a clip of Rob McCoy defending a pedophile or trying to launder the reputation of that's fam.
Notice how vague she is in that one, by the way.
The CK show fam. Oh, I'm sorry. We are actually pointing to the fact that we know for certain that this person or organization is sexual deviant. That's fam. That is my. Don't you get me upset. I know that this is a now $150 million in the last 3-month organization, and we employ tons of people. But you can't critique. You can't critique the fam. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to be very clear here. This is why there are many people who do not believe that women are equipped to lead companies, because what you are watching here is an unbelievably emotional response that is absent of any logic, okay? If you really care about your team, answer the questions, okay? Just demystify the entire event. Answer, come out, sit down, answer the questions so people don't think Turning Point USA looks so suspicious.
Why do people think right now, why do people think that Turning Point USA looks suspicious? Because of her. This is creating her own soap opera is what she's doing. She's created her own soap opera. She's launched her own, she calls it an investigation, but it's a smear campaign. She launches that smear campaign and then tells you that if you don't respond to her nonsense, all of which is backed up by zero evidence. If you don't respond to her zero evidence claims, then you are the bad guy. You are obfuscating. You are hiding something. You are the bad one. You are evil. So she makes a claim and then says, now you debunk my claim, even though she has no evidence for the claim. And she makes them over and over and over again. And what I call, aggressively call the bootlickers or the sycophants or the Candace worshipers or whatever, the cult, whatever you want to call it. They're the ones that are out here echoing it. And I'm going to show you in a minute the numbers on some of this stuff because it is absolutely staggering. Nonetheless, she wants you to spend your time debunking them, which means you have to reference her, which means that she gets the boost in the algorithm. And you say something derogatory about, Candace. Now you say you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars making these baseless accusations. And she says, well, you're not a leader. That's just emotional. Says the hyper emotional, psychotic woman that people apparently still want to listen to for some reason. And if you don't respond to my psychopathic delusions, then you're the problem and it's not me. I'm going to keep going.
Try to mom the organization and say, well, mother's upset because people are coming after her kids and all of this multi-million-dollar subsidiaries. That's my children, okay? The multi-million-dollar subsidiaries, Turning Point, like Turning Point Action, all that, those are my kids, so you can't critique them. Not a good idea, okay? It may work in PR world. You guys, I know how it's an obvious PR campaign. It's never been more obvious of a psychological operation. I actually wish they would put me on payroll so I could help them make these things look more organic.
Could you think of anything more self-destructive? If ever there was a poison pill, if ever there was a carcass in the well, it would be Candace Owens in any way involved in TPUSA. From this point forward, that she is excommunicado from TPUSA. She's never going to be involved in TPUSA. And when her whole facade comes crumbling down, people are going to see the rotten building that was hidden behind it. And that is a woman who I believe is pursuing purely selfish, ideological, or not ideological even, just purely selfish, narcissistic, endeavors. This is it. This is boosting her own ego. It's making money. That's why she's doing this. Let's keep
And
going.
having every single person that has been telling us to stop asking questions all make the exact same video within 4 seconds of each other, being like, whoa, Erica Kirk shuts down the No, she didn't even respond to one of the conspiracies. She gave us emotion. She gave us emotion. She said, I'm a mother, I am a wife, and we never asked about whether she was mother or wife. We want to know if she's a CEO and a chairman. And a CEO and a chairman has to compartmentalize. A CEO and a chairman cannot respond to valid questions and critiques about finances, about shady actions that are being taken.
Finances, by the way, this is, and I should have pulled this up because it's just now coming to me. I didn't do it in the pre-show or the pre-show prep. But I did this. If you guys have watched this channel for any length of time, I did a deep dive on nonprofits. And it was in particular nonprofits that were involved in the southern border and the hundreds of millions of dollars we were pumping into them. I myself did searches by EIN, which you can search them if you want to. If you're bored some evening and you're sitting at your laptop, go to the IRS website, get on Google, and you can find whatever nonprofit you want to. You can find their EIN. It will give you payroll. It'll give you all the data, all the information. And she says that there are all these financial problems. And the way that it was pitched by Candace is that Turning Point USA didn't have their tax filings from 2024. They're not visible on the IRS website. And what is fascinating, and if you, like myself, I've done this, so I can tell you for a fact that about half of the nonprofits, you could only go back 2 years at best. Some of them will have more current filings. Others, on the IRS website, you pull it up and it's 2025, you'll see the 2022 tax returns. You're not going to see all the others. And there's a myriad of reasons why that's the case because, I mean, we've got a horribly complicated tax system, and for nonprofits, they make it very, very difficult. This is why they have stables full of lawyers to deal with all that nonsense. But she's pitching it as though it is an anomaly, as though it's some conspiracy in the back end of TPUSA, the organization that Charlie Kirk did an annual audit, his own audit of that organization every single year. But she says, and now she runs with it. So it's not evidence, it's a claim. This is what most of her data is. It is a claim, not evidence. She says it's evidence, and people who don't know the difference repeat it on social media. Let's keep going.
People that require presidential pardons, people that are meaningfully asking why we are not getting a clear answer of what took place on September 10th. A CEO, does not get to respond and say, that's my family.
Okay, so character assassination is really where she's going. She's saying, well, Erica can tell me to stop. Erica did. She said, you are attacking my team, and we have an ongoing investigation. The FBI, or not them, the FBI has an ongoing investigation. There's a court trial. I'm sure the lawyers are saying, you don't need to be commenting on this stuff because it could be in some way a detriment to the trial. Meanwhile, the narcissistic podcaster, Candace Owens, continues to do it. And when the woman who says stop in so many words, she says, I'm doubling down. I'm going after this lady. It's interesting because, you guys know, again, you don't have to be a religious person, but there's a lot of biblical reference to this. And I pulled up a couple. That in the end, so in the book of Matthew, it talks about in the end, you'll be deceived. There will be false Christs and prophets, and these people will be doing wonders. And I'm not saying Candace is that. I'm just saying that the spirit of that is something that is what I always called a small a antichrist. So it is it's an evil thing. It is anti-Christ. It's something that Christ wouldn't actually do himself. Obviously, slander, lies, deceit, deception, all of those things, those are not Christ-like things. And I'm not saying, look, I'm not a preaching person. That's not what I do, but it's a pretty good place to go to get some data. If you want to get a way to live your life, it's the moral framework that our founding fathers used when they crafted the Declaration of Independence and when they crafted the Constitution. So it's a pretty good place to be. It's a pretty good place to find it. And there's a lot of other things talking about deceiving people, about deceit, hypocrisy, all those things. So put away malice and all deceit and hypocrisy and envy and all slander. That's in 1 Peter. To speak evil of no one, to avoid quarreling, to be gentle, and to show perfect courtesy towards all people. That's in context, by the way. But let's see. Let's see. A dishonest man spreads strife, and a whisperer separates close friends. I mean, there's like you can go to a lot of different ways. You shall not spread a false report. You shall not join hands with a wicked man to be a malicious witness. I mean, it goes on and on. There's on this in particular, I pulled up, I think somewhere around, it was like 150, 200 different verses. It's fairly clear cut. When someone who we know this, that for a fact, this is not speculation, this is not my opinion, this is fact, that the things she continues to bring up have yet to be proven. They are, in fact, false, as I just told you with one. I'll give you one example with the nonprofits. This is evidence of malfeasance, financial malfeasance, of corruption, of and it's false. It's a lie. It's a straight-out lie. When we talked about her doxing the, what was it, the office building, that she got a tip. Somebody gave it to her. A random person commented and said, check out this address. This is where it's all centered around because the feds are there. And it was the lawyer's office for Candace Owens, who was handling the Macron lawsuit. She's too eager to take the information and fling it out there in the wild in an effort to damage Turning Point USA. In fact, she had the tweet, which I didn't pull up that tweet, the tweet that says, you need to stop donating to this godforsaken organization, in her words. This is malicious intent on her part. And it's having second and third order effects. Somebody in the comments, I happened to glance over, and you mentioned Tim Pool. Tim Pool, his compound was recently shot up. Now, am I saying that is because of Candace Owens? Absolutely not. Could it be? Possibly. It's probably more left-wing people. This is where the violence is coming from in politics. And this is, let's see, let me find it. Oh. Somebody, if you're watching over there, somebody commented last time, I always lose my place, and I did this time. So Tim Pool, he let's see, he goes off. I'm not going to play the video of him going off on Candace Owens because it was profanity laden. Just Google it if you don't, if filtering isn't a concern of yours, go ahead and Google it on, or not Google it, find it on X. It's out there. It was rabid. And despite the look, I'm no stranger to saying a bad word every now and then, but I just try not to do it out in public. But this is what he was going off about, that he had been shot at, and then Candace Owens makes a post with him, with Tim Pool, who's the guy in the middle, Kash Patel, and some mystery person saying the billion-dollar question: who stood to benefit from Charlie Kirk's assassination? And this sent Tim Pool into an absolute tailspin. And she doubled down after Tim Pool's response, which was, like I say, aggressive. It's probably the most aggressive delivery I've seen Tim Pool have on his show. And he's generally tries to keep it PG-13 just for censorship purposes and all that. But now, then Candace doubles down. She comes out and she says, well, it was Tim Pool's brother. So this was her post. She said, the shooting Tim Pool survived in December of 2022, referencing back to a separate incident, was committed by his brother, by the way. His brother was the one who fired the weapon on his property. And this is what she does. What she is doing is making false claims. Tim Pool spent 45 minutes of his show. He had to mention Candace Owens because he had to clear the water from something that was a bold-faced lie, provably false. In fact, Tim Pool had debunked this, had talked about this in the past, but does Candace Owens care? No. All she needed was the headline. All she needed was the accusation. All she needed was to get it out there in the ether, to put it out into social media, let her lemmings run with it, spread the lies, spread the deception, further divide people. She knew it was false, or she's an idiot. Those are the two options. She knew it was false and she lied, or she's an idiot and shouldn't be taken seriously because it's easily debunked. But nonetheless, Tim Pool, he came out and he had to say, look, here's the explanation as to why, people broke into our building. One of his staff members, who I guess was his brother, responded in self-defense by firing a firearm. But the way she words it, the person who, discharged, that Tim Pool survived this. Tim Pool wasn't even there. Crafting a story for her own personal gain. That in and of itself, guys, I can't look at that and see it as anything other than evil. Because if I were to come out here and start making up absolute bold-faced lies and just spreading them about anybody and everybody, first off, I should get sued if I do that. But if I'm going to sit out here and make up bold-faced lies about people, send the entire internet into a tailspin around something that just is not so, that's not right. That's wrong. So that's why I give you the option. You can pick two. If you're a Candace fan that watches this, and they love to get in the comment section. They really, really do. Thankfully, the folks that realize what's happening, this great audience, doesn't buy into that silliness. But you got two options. Either she lied because this is provably false with any level of research, or she doesn't know what she's talking about. Because now that's two major things that have been proven to be false. The lawyer's office, which was hers. So Tim Pool, this was actually funny. I'm going to get back to Candace here in a minute because let's see. Tim Pool, that's not the one. I almost played the one where he was going ballistic. Tim Pool has said, by the way, now that he might be closing up shop. Now, do I think that he's going to? I don't know. He's making $15 million. He's doing $15, $20 million a year. Has been consistently one of the top live streamers, and he's a guy who you can completely disagree with. I do on a lot of things. But it's a place where you can have an actual conversation, and he's going to call you out on your nonsense if you come onto his show with nonsense. But there's actual conversations being had. Listen to this. This is what I see as a troll, and I think it's a pretty good troll. Tim Pool. If Tim Pool probably doesn't watch my show, but that's okay. This is a pretty good troll by Tim Pool.
I've gotten a bunch of emails, shocking revelations, and I've gotten people coming to me and talking about what she really does, and I want answers. Who's she working for? Who is Candace Owens working for? Don't you think it's a little weird that YouTube is putting her on the front page, recommending her show to everyone, where she says the moon landing wasn't real? I thought YouTube banned conspiracy channels. What's going on? Don't you think it's just a little weird that her own lawyers work in the same building as the feds? That doesn't make sense. Why would Candace hire lawyers who work in a federal building? Or who work in an office building with feds, I should say. It's a little weird, isn't it? I'm just asking questions. She refuses to answer. She has no answers. I think it's all very strange. Charlie Kirk gets murdered. Turning Point loses its leader. And then she comes to finish the job.
If you listen to that, and you've listened to Candace, which I'm going to assume everybody here has. We watch it in snippets on this show, but he used the exact same script that she did. He used the exact same inferences and the same spreading. Throw a little bit of a conspiracy. That could be a conspiracy out there. Here's a little one. I'm just asking questions, right? That's her favorite phrase. I'm just asking questions. All I'm doing is making claim, and then say, well, I'm just asking questions. Tim Pool did the same thing, and I thought it was brilliant. I would love to know how many people believe that Tim Pool actually believes that. Maybe he did. I didn't pick that up from him, but the way he was saying it, knowing how Tim Pool delivers his content, he was trolling Candace Owens. But it is an interesting question. I mean, despite the fact that it is it's a complete troll, he says, why are lawyers working in a federal building? Oh my goodness. I have to give you one more. This is one that Candace threw out the other day. Knowingly false, easily disprovable by a simple Google search. And listen to this here.
E4, E5s, he told me that means that they're lieutenant colonels, and they are the ones that are checking him in.
So this was as part of one of our shows, and somebody just posted the snippet, and it was kind of a post to the vet bros like myself. That so I took it and I retweeted it. Actually, I said, look, the fact that she doesn't know an E4, for those of you that don't know, and I don't expect people to know that have been in the military, an E4 is a specialist and an E5 is a sergeant, and she called him a lieutenant colonel and a colonel. So either she knew, or excuse me, there's no way that she knew. She was completely incompetent, didn't bother to search it, and whoever is behind the scenes feeding her information, she takes it, she runs with it, and assumes that it's true. She's not worried about doing her own due diligence, and maybe it's because she's been propped up by a big staff and researchers and whoever she's got working for her down in her basement. She's got people that are churning out information, giving it to her, giving her, more things to speculate on, and she just takes it and runs with it. She's like, I'm just a voice. I'm going to hop in my Bentley. I'm going to go back to my house with my zero security, which is what was part of Tim Pool's rule. She has no security. They say she's got, the guy that was the guest on Tim Pool said, no, she's got a 4-foot wall and one fat guy. She's not worried about security. She doesn't have to, because she's the key component in breaking up the conservative movement, breaking up MAGA, breaking up what we had going on before the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So I'm going to play this one. Golly, I literally have a whole list of videos, because now I'm thinking of more that, I said there were a few, there's countless videos that I've gotten here of her being debunked. Let's see. Let me play this one here. This was, let's see. Let me make sure I've got the right clip. I think I have this one labeled wrong. We're going to watch it, and we're going to see what happens, because that's how we go. That's how we roll when we're live. And I just got off a 13-hour day. Let's go with it.
Let me see if I can read a couple of these comments before we go off here. Wow, that's a huge donation that was made by Laughing Cats Music World. Thank you. I'm going to need it, because I think the federal government is trying to bankrupt me 1,000 different ways. Legal fare is one of the strategies, legal fare. They just keep you constantly being sued at all times. And I feel like that's happened since I escaped the Matrix.
So somebody sent her $1,000 super chat. $1,000 super chat. By the way, I would welcome $1,000 super chats. I do not want people to, do not send me $1,000 super chat. I'm just saying that this is a woman whose husband is worth about 200. We'll go in the middle, about $180 million. High end is $250 million. She is the number one podcast in the world. She is raking in hundreds of thousands of dollars per episode, and she does an episode every single day. She gets a super chat and she says, "Thank you so much for sending me my hard-earned money, because this is lawfare. The government is coming after me." Well, the government, the president of France and his wife is coming after you because you spent an inordinate amount of time trying to claim that she had male genitalia. And I can't imagine that they would pursue a lawsuit if that were false. More information, I'm sure, is going to be coming out whenever that case, whatever discovery happens. But she's playing the victim. So this is constant. She plays the victim. Even when Tim Pool responded to her, she played the victim. Oh, he's a weak man. In fact, I could probably play that one for you. This is the thing. She comes out aggressive, like, I'm the tough lady. I'm the tough one. I'm the one with all the information. I'm the alpha. I'm out here controlling this narrative. Everybody's against you except for me. Da 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 da. And in the minute, let's see. Here we go. This is her response to Tim Pool. Entirely ad hominem, absolutely not truthful, but let's listen to it.
He is a fundamentally weak man for what he did there. He should apologize. He won't. I don't care what happens to his platform. He's now essentially trying out because he's under financial pressure. He's
No, he's
trying
not.
out for Zionists to pay him, and they will.
No, he's not.
Okay, they will cut him a check, and I hope it happens for you, Tim. I hope it makes you happy. But to do that to someone who has never done anything to you other than disagree with you about the Charlie Kirk narrative, I have not focused my content on you. And anytime your name has come up, it has been because you have explicitly been attacking me. You are a coward. You are less than a man. Okay, you are behaving. Your type right there is like a person who's having financial issues and yet decides to go out and put 100K on a poker game. And when he loses and is a further 100K in the hole, comes back home and beats his wife and kids.
Oh,
and
the
thinks he's a
victim.
tough guy. That's
She's
how
the
you're
beaten
acting
victim.
right now.
That's what
I'm not
she's
your
saying.
wife. I'm not
So
your
she's saying
kids. Get
she's
your
the
affairs in order and stop blaming me because I'm actually traversing down the path that hasn't been traveled by standing up and saying that something corrupt happened and Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And I don't care about your midterms. Okay. I don't care about your next year midterms and whether or not the Republican Party is united. Okay. Because I don't want to stand next to people that would cover up Charlie Kirk's assassination.
So she generates enemies. Golly, it's quite brilliant, I will say, for a what I largely consider to be a blithering moron. I think that her technique is pretty brilliant, and I don't know who's coaching her. She's got to have somebody coaching her, but she generates a conspiracy, multiple conspiracies. She moves so quickly through all of those conspiracies by finding anomalies. These are not, these are events. They are not evidence. They are claims. They are not evidence. People take them as fact because the way that she talks around things, it sounds like it's evidence. So she does that. You go after Candace Owens, you're the bad guy, right? You're the guy coming home to beat the woman, right? Because she's a feminist, right? She's a third wave feminist. I'm going to assume that with George Farmer, the Islam loving George Farmer, that he is I'm going to assume a beta male. I don't know. That she wears the pants in the house. Okay. But she attacks him saying, oh, you're just a weak man. You're pathetic. I mean, I'm out here doing the Lord's work is the way she would have you believe it. No, evil is not brilliant. That's correct. Golly. And, I listened to, if you guys don't know, Jeremy from The Quartering, I highly recommend you listening to him. He's got a big channel. He's having a million and a half subscribers. And it shouldn't be, the norm for somebody to recommend other channels that are in the same space, especially if you're a small one. However, I don't think that Continue Freedom should be the only source of information that you have. I want it to be your first source of information, but I want la-di-da-di everybody to go out and get different points of view. I'm okay with hyper-conservative people, which is more or less what I am. I'm okay with, more centrist people. You gotta see where everybody's coming from. But Jeremy from The Quartering, he made a post today where he said, I'm done with all this stuff. I'm done with it because I don't think that I can make a difference. And this is infighting that he doesn't want to be a part of. And here's the way I look at it. I look at it as infighting that needs to be exposed because I use the canary in the coal mine. I believe that the canary in the coal mine was the Tennessee 7th. The Tennessee 7th District election. I brought it up, 2-3 videos ago. And in that special election, Donald Trump had won that area, had won that district by 22 points. And Van Epps came in, and he won it by 9. Donald Trump's lead had been cut in half. Do I think that is the end-all, be-all thing that is telling us we're going to lose the next election? No. Do I think that that's that's certainty that we're going to lose the midterms? Excuse me. No, I don't think that's the case. But we have to be alert enough of the other things outside of Candace Owens to know that there are canaries in the coal mine. Those little canaries start falling over, and our antennas should go up, and we should be saying, all right, what's the escape route for our current course of politics? And I think that is one of them. But I also think that there's a moral aspect to this And this is the sort of stuff that you're getting from the Candace lovers, from the Candace sycophants. They are looking to slander the people that are on our side of the political spectrum. They are looking to it's an obvious effort to take down the biggest names. Candace is working very, very hard. She's working overtime to take down the biggest organization. People like Milo Yiannopoulos and Stu Peters and other people are trying hard to take down individuals like Benny Johnson to try to make them unpalatable for conservatives. There is no level, there's no limit to the amount of slander that they will go to the amount of vitriol that they will spew about the once unified movement on the right. And if you aren't on board with them, you don't just disagree with them politically. You're going to destroy America. And just like the left, what they are accusing us of doing is what they themselves are doing. The left called Donald Trump a fascist. They call him a racist. They call him all of this. Meanwhile, the left wanted DEI. They wanted, spaces divided, different graduations for people of different races. They wanted men and boys' locker rooms. They wanted all this nonsense. But they would call us the evil ones, right? They want the authoritarian government systems in order to implement their socialist agendas. And yet they call us the fascists. Right? This is accusing your opponent of what you yourself are doing. This is what Stu Peters does. This is what Candace Owens does. This is what, in some ways, Nick Fuentes does. They're shameless, and they're making money off of it. Now, I would ask, how much of it is real? The answer might surprise you. I believe a chunk of it is real. However, this is a report that I found in Tech Radar. Interesting place for a guy who follows politics all the time. Bots now account for over half of all internet traffic. And it wasn't just in Tech Radar that it said this. This is in numerous outlets. Estimates are as high as 51%. This is as of 2025 of all web traffic constituted bot traffic, attributing to the shift largely to the rise of artificial intelligence and large language models, or LLMs. So how much of the engagement that Candace Owens is getting, how much of it is legitimate? How much of it is bot traffic? Well, we don't know, because George Soros, as an example, could pop in there and say, you know what? This MAGA movement was awfully strong, and I need a way to start shifting the narrative. How can I shift the narrative? Well, I need the algorithm to say something different. So here's a bot farm, by the way. Walls and walls of cell phones in Pakistan and all that good stuff. And they're plugged into computers, and they can go on and like certain content. They're using some, I don't know if it's sophisticated. I'm not a tech guy. Look, I'm not a tech guy. But when you see Ian Carroll have a post with 500 views, and it's got 550 likes, suspicious. So part of this is the public allowing the algorithm to sway them. The other part is the algorithm boosting it. So, unfortunately, in this age of internet and AI, all of which I use, obviously, every single day, AI is great for utilitarian things. But AI can also deceive you. Social media can also deceive you. What is getting pumped into your feed can deceive you. Our burden for research is actually higher now than I think it's ever been in our lives, in the history of humanity. Doing independent research to know what's actually going on. Now, I'm trying to do that for you guys. I am, but I'm not going to have all the answers on everything. There's people, like, aside from the bots, there's actual individuals who say, I don't have a conscience. I'm not guided by any biblical principles. I'm not guided by a common moral frame, moral worldview. I just see this as a money-making scheme. I do not care. I will say whatever I have to say. I'm going to get paid. I'm going to ride that gravy train as long as I can. What do I care about this country? What do I care about my fellow Americans? It's really wild, don't you think? And I've been going for 45 minutes and I have not gotten to comments yet. I'm going to get to comments here in a minute. Very quickly, I'm going to get to comments. Man, I did. Golly, okay. We'll have to hit the rest of them. Hopefully, I can get to them tomorrow. I was going to get into Tucker a bit. Gas prices. Ooh, boy. All right. Let's get to comments because this is my favorite part of the show. Thank you guys for all the comments. I truly, truly appreciate it, and I will start bringing them up here. Let's see. Oh, okay. Sorry, Jennifer. If you hope you're still on, I asked early on, Jennifer, what time is it down in New Zealand? And it was 2 p.m. All right, there you go. Afternoon show. And KC, by the way, kudos to KC. KC's been hopping in here, welcoming people to the chat. I appreciate it. You're awesome. Let's see. Yes. Candace reaction to this, talking about the reaction to Erica Kirk's interview. Yes, it was. It was sick. It was evil. It was disgusting. It was very, very sad. Let's see. There you go. Early on, thank you for doing that, KC. Cantifa is also welcome aboard. Healthy conversation. That's what we're trying to have. I went very hard against your overlord tonight, but I don't apologize for it because we have to call out bad where bad exists. And I think that, on the flip side of that, I get aggressive about it because I'm talking politics and, all that. But you got to pray for the soul of people like that because they're influencing generations of people. Young people are a lot of young folks are looking for something. Where's my purpose? What's my meaning? What's actually going on in the world? And they're getting fed all this stuff on the internet. They're not doing, some of them are, I'm sure, but a lot of them aren't doing the research. They think that the most popular person is the most right person, and that's just not the way the world works. Wow. Okay. So I heard that her super chats alone were 3,000. Tim Pool estimated it was roughly 20 million a year she's making. I would say that's probably right. Yeah. I think I might have heard that. I might have heard that same episode. No, 3,000 a day. That's right. That's $3,000 a day on super chats. Oh boy. I mean, that's just in super chat. Golly, because she does 5 days a week. If she does 5 days a week, that's 20 days, and that's $60,000 a month in super chats. It's pretty good. Let's see. That's a valid question, Jennifer. Who the heck does this demon think she is? Wow. Thank you, Janie. Let's see. Janie, welcome aboard. Janie's been coming back to this show for a while. I cannot believe people listen to her full of illogical nonsense. That's it. Yeah, she does. She speaks like an adolescent. I think I agree with that. Although I will say she is fairly well read. I think she's adapted some of her delivery to an audience, but I think she is well read. She just uses it for nefarious purposes. I'm sure. Well, I won't get into making those comparisons. I didn't see her show today. She crashed out today on her show. I will look forward to the Heart Love. Welcome back, by the way. Another longtime watcher. Let's see. She was melting today. Okay. I'll be interested to see that one. I haven't seen it. I went to, I started work early this morning, and I've been going nonstop, and I stopped like 30 minutes before this show. If you guys don't know, well, you probably don't. I don't know if I've ever said this on the show. I keep an Evernote on my phone. It's synced to my laptop and to my tablet. Anytime I'm sitting down, going through social media, if I see something, I tag it, I make some notes on it, and then I move on. And my Evernote was chock full of stuff, so it wasn't that hard to prep. Sometimes when I'm really busy in a long stretch, my research dwindles, and sometimes I will not make a show simply because of that. Look, I'm not going to come on here. Some guys can do it. I can't do it. I can't sit and just play a video and watch TV with everybody, which some people do it, and it's fine, and they make it entertaining, and folks like it. Maybe I'll try it on here to see if some other folks would enjoy it, but it's just not my thing. I don't know. Jay Witt does a good job. I've watched Jay Witt stuff. Yeah. His channel's been growing like crazy. I can't wait to see I've got to watch some Candace clips. Let's see. The conservative men should stand up. There you go. Elijah, great point. That's it. That is a great point. Where are the conservative men? You know, I talk about this on, I'm on another podcast. I've been on a few of them. I do one. It's Braver Than the Rest. And we get in this conversation all the time because we're focused on Braver Than the Rest. We focus more on biblical things. One of the guys is a former pastor, and he, we'll sit down and we'll talk biblically about things, but we also talk oftentimes, almost every time, it comes back to masculinity in America. And, it would have been, and it was, I say it would have been, it was Charlie Kirk who was standing up for his wife. And as soon as he was gone, this is the other troubling part of it. Candace Owens essentially treats her like she's just free reign now. She doesn't have a man, which some people speculate that the man that Candace Owens wanted was Charlie Kirk, but I don't have any evidence for that. But that's a rumor that you'll see spreading around there. And she just says, well, now it's open game. Charlie he never had to stand up for Erica because she was never in that position. But yeah, I question that. Like what men are, and that's not to say that if you're a man, or if you're a woman and you're in a position of authority, that doesn't mean that you are, exempt from criticism. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Once you take the position, that is what is your actions in that position are what are being criticized, and are completely open to be criticized. But the way it's being done in the Charlie Kirk situation is Erica Kirk still has to keep the organization running. They still have to bring in money. They still have thousands of employees and volunteers. And they are still trying to continue this conservative movement that is being destroyed, not from within, but from outside forces that are very powerful and being pushed by an algorithm and by a society that's in, a version of moral collapse. So anyway. Candace Owens, 5 minutes every time she moves her lips. Like, yep, that's it. Nonstop. Oh, KC's a Navy vet. There you go. Oh, my goodness. Navy. Well, I was in the Army, so I don't know if I could say. Actually, of my buddies in high school, there were 5 of us. And we were very close. We were thick as thieves, and 3 of us went in the military. So one of my buddies went in the Air Force, he became actually a fighter pilot, F-16 pilot. Another guy, he went in the Navy, and then of course I went into the Army. And when we would get back together, we were, oh my goodness, we'd be, razzing each other because I'd give them a hard time because I was stationed in Louisiana, I was stationed in Oklahoma. These aren't like garden spots. And they were getting stationed in, Florida and San Diego and all over the place. I was like, oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Let's see. No, but George Farmer, her husband, he's a shady dude. I've played his interviews. He's obvious. Well, here's one of the shadiest parts about him is he is very, very close friends with the Tate brothers. And if you've been on the internet for, any length of time, you know that the Tate brothers are, wow. They're, good grief, they're standing trial for sex trafficking. They're some pretty gnarly guys. They're degenerates, I believe. And here you go. Supernova said it. I think Andrew Tate is coaching her. I mean, he could be. I'm sure. I could almost guarantee you that on a regular basis they at least have conversations. I can't say that for certain, but her husband is very, very close friends with Andrew Tate. Very close friends. Let's see. Her tactic is genius, but I think it's not as planned tactic. I think she just does this naturally with burning bridges consistently. Yeah, yeah. I think there's probably a lot of truth to that. The tactic is good for selling the story. That's the thing. She sells the story incredibly well. Even though it's all nonsense and lies, but she does it very, very well. Oh, yeah. So, Real KC, you were talking about Casey. I tell you what, Casey burns up the chats. I love it. Yeah, she was, Jeremy from The Quartering. He's such a good dude. Like, he just seems like a nice guy. He's so even keel and, not pretentious or anything like that. I like him, and he's very smart. It's a very good show. I like the guy. Let's see. Yeah, she did. She's going, look, and maybe that's the rise and fall. Maybe that's what we'll see, the rise and fall of Candace Owens. I sit here and I chirp on the internet about it. I'm, as some people say, I'm just a guy who complains on the internet. But, maybe we'll see the rise and fall of it. I just think that there's so many loyal, what's the way to put it? She tapped into people. Well, hang on. Let me rephrase this. There is a huge swath of the population who they go down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole. I have been one of those in the past. I'm the comedian who said, "You're telling me you don't believe in any conspiracies? Not even one? You just think the government's batting 1,000, right?" That's a strong stance to take. And I don't remember the comedian, that was his joke, but it was very true. And I'm one of those people, I don't trust the federal government, but we have to trust the process. Those processes, the ones that are legitimate and constitutional, have to be, what's the way to put it? We can't just run roughshod all over them. Nothing's going to get solved in the court of Candace Owens. We have to let the process play through. We have to be able to poke holes in the court case. We are going to see the court case because they are allowing cameras into this court case. This is going to be publicized to the world. And if there are holes in it, we will poke holes in it. But I'm not going to be on board with the conspiracy theorists who are out here flinging so much nonsense that they're doing their due diligence in helping the defense for the guy who right now, we believe, took out Charlie Kirk, and who they wouldn't have even been able to get a trial for if they hadn't had the evidence to do so. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to everybody. Let's see. I saw, this is interesting. So you mentioned this. I saw a documentary. It was interesting, but it was kind of like I would venture to say it was kind of like a Candace Owens thing, where Candace Owens, she makes open-ended statements about things that are kind of allude to being facts. I saw one about Jesuits and about the founding fathers and how they were terrified of them. And that above all, they were trying to keep Jesuits out because of their ability to get in and influence politics. It was very interesting. And I've watched a lot of Catholic folks online. Nothing against Catholics. Catholics are beautiful people. I'm just saying there are, just like there's the Westboro Baptist Church, and just like there's a, subsects of every faith that are horrific. The Catholic Church is not immune to that. But there was speculation way back at our founding about the Jesuits because they were very influential, very interesting. Lady Luck Club. I've never heard of that one. Lady Luck Club does a great deep dive. Well, I'm going to screenshot that and find out who they are. I'm always looking for new people to listen to. Always. And while I'm here, by the way, I haven't done this. We've got some folks online. Let's be sure, if you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button, the like button, and the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video is released. I'm super appreciative for all my return guests. You guys are great. We're building such a cool audience here. It's awesome. Let's see. I find it odd that George confesses he and Candace didn't even discuss romance or relationship before he proposed. Yeah, that was the creepy part. My goodness. They had never had a single he basically said we didn't actually date. That's the way that it comes across. You guys can watch the interview for yourselves. I've played it on here before, and it's very peculiar. No talk of romance. There was no, nothing dating related, and they only knew each other for, I think it was 2 weeks, and then they were engaged, and then they got married, and now they've got a whole bunch of kids. Ooh. Here you go. All right. So the trial is versus Tyler Robinson, correct? There's not going to be TPUSA lies addressed. They're not on trial. Well, you're assuming that there are TPUSA lies because Candace has said there are TPUSA lies. But we are trying to prove who is the one that took out Charlie Kirk. That's what the trial is going to should show. And if it doesn't, Tyler Robinson will be found innocent. The TPUSA lies thing, that's a Candace Owens fabrication for which there is no evidence. Sorry, but that's just the case. Thanks for coming back, Pobox. Appreciate it. You were on the last live stream. Appreciate it. I entirely disagree with most of that statement, but yeah, I appreciate you coming back. Let's see. Is it P.O. Box? Okay, P.O. Box Christmas. Okay, all right. Sorry, I want to get the name right. Let's see. Casey. Well, I can tell you this. So this was your response to KC. I find this interesting. I have a clip in here. He is, I presume he is Catholic, but he's, let me see if I can find the clip. I think I've got it in this folder. He gives glowing responses to Islam. And, okay, got it. P.O. Box. Okay, got it. Sorry. He gives glowing commentary on Islam and how Islam is, let me see if I can find it here. Let's see. Okay, you're going to have to tell me. This is because I'm on the last comment. That's not true. Other channels addressed this way before Candace said anything. She used their work. What are you referencing? Because I was talking about George Farmer. Is it reference George Farmer? And I will wait for your response. Because that's if it's that case, I could play the interview. I would have to dig, but the mic move. Okay, so look, I'm doing the same thing. This is what's frustrating about this. I'm doing the same thing that everybody else has to do to try and answer the silliness. What did Mikey McCoy have blood all over him? I don't know. What difference does that make? Unless you're convinced because of the other conspiracy, right? The only reason you ask that question is if you're convinced by the other conspiracy that Mikey McCoy is involved, which is what Candace Owens has said. Could TPUSA fly drones? I don't know. The security team the guy was interviewed. You can watch the Sean Ryan podcast. He talked to the guy. He was absolutely wrong in just pushing off to the side. Hey, the campus or the UVU police, they said, as he showed in his text messages, we've got the roof covered. Okay. And he pushed it. They didn't. And that, it kind of goes off to the same Candace Owens statement where you have to be a Spider-Man to climb onto the roof. And I've got that video too. I can show it to you. The guy that walks up the stairs and over to the area where Tyler Robinson was, and there was a 3-foot high little hump of a wall that you can get over. So, was TPUSA denied a key? There is no key to the roof at UVU. In fact, let me show you that one. Let's go ahead and debunk this one. Let's see. Let me find the clip. We'll do this live. It's perfectly fine. Candace victim. I love I love this. Let's do it. Boy, I've got so many clips in here. Spider-Man, where is it? Doggone it. I have too many notes. Too hard to search. Oh, here we go. Here's the clip.
Here's footage from when I went to UVU. Let me show you exactly how much of a Spider-Man you have to be to get on this roof. It's insane. All right, folks, so here's the stairs that go to the roof. Wow.
The fencing
This
is
wall
new.
is about maybe 3 feet tall.
There you go. Yeah, Spider-Man. You're correct. Yeah, Spider-Man. To walk up 2 sets of stairs. So this whole key to the roof thing, she pulled that out of her fourth point of contact. I mean, look, this is the thing. People are asking questions. Well, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? Here's one that's complete nonsense. There you go. I get so tired of doing it, you know. Let's see, where's that? Mikey never said he had blood. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to Fox News tackle Candace. There we go. Let's see if I can pull that down. There we go. All right. I couldn't figure out how to get the comments down. Anyway. All right. So you can see this is just, it's like, it's one thing after another. Let's see. You're doing it wrong. Don't forget the Ninja Turtles under the trapdoor. Yeah. There was the trapdoor thing where the sprinkler systems were serviced. My goodness. You can't verify or prove anything that doesn't exist. I think that settles it. That says it all. My goodness. And this is what, by the way, this is what Candace wants. I say this is what Candace wants. This is what Candace and her loyalists want, is they want people to just chase down. She gave you another rabbit hole. Go follow that instead of paying attention to what else is going on in the rest of the world. Follow the silliness, follow the silliness. I tell you what, I do believe in our judicial system. Do I think it's gotten a lot of things wrong? Yeah, but we have to let this play out. Absolutely nothing is going. Candace thinks she is owed all of this information directly from the FBI, directly from all these people. She's a podcaster. There's a legal system, and we don't try people in the court of Candace Owens. So you're going to have to wait and see. That's it. My goodness. So frustrating. All right. Yeah, maroon t-shirt assassins. You said, okay, so Rob McCoy said these things, not Candace. Rob McCoy says something in a sermon. I don't know if he was embellishing. I don't know if he was speaking out of turn. What does that make? What difference does that make? Rob McCoy isn't the head of security. The head of security did a 2-hour long form podcast answering questions, talking about all of it. Anyway. Confidence, it's the food of the wise man, but the liquor of the fool. That's an interesting comment. Let's see. Okay. All right. I think I have gotten, let's see. You're wrong. I'm telling you, Rob blamed UVU. I just told you that this is look, okay, so here's the thing. Rob McCoy, I don't remember what Rob McCoy said about this. I know the last person that I listened to who was speaking about this was the head of security for Charlie Kirk. He's the one who sat down, and I don't remember the guy's name. He sat down with Sean Ryan. He walked through it. Were there missteps on their part? Absolutely, 100%. And was of course, they're pitching the blame to UVU because UVU said, we've got the roof covered. And I think those were his exact words. Don't quote me on that, but we've got it covered, something to that effect. The problem was in the follow-up, trust but verify. You can delegate authority but not responsibility. When you are the people on the ground who are relying on an outside security force to augment you, whether that's UVU police or that is, another security agency or whatever, that's your responsibility to do that. So was it a lapse? Yes, it was absolutely a lapse. And there's a lot of reasons for this, potential reasons for it. Maybe they'll come out in the investigation. There you go. That's where I'm at. Get off it, mate. Tyler did it. I mean, and we'll see, right? We'll see. But let's see. Well, sorry, I shouldn't read comments while I'm making a point because then it gets me distracted. But nonetheless, were there security lapses? Yeah, absolutely. They trusted, they didn't verify, and then the roof was left open. That's one fault. Who's to blame? Everybody's going to blame the other person. The security company doesn't want to take the blame for it, and UVU police, they're obviously they don't want to take the blame for it either. Let's see. Okay. All right, guys. Golly, I've been going for over an hour. We go to standard, not to time around here. You guys know that. Let's see. Am I missing any comments? Oh, there we go. Aussie land. Man, we've got a New Zealander. We've got an Aussie. My goodness. That's awesome. You're asking why. Okay, here we go. You're asking why TP Turning Point is lying about simple stuff. Who are they lying? Okay. You could go. Okay, this has been 3 months now. It's been 3 months of mostly Candace making comments. Some things have been said publicly by the TPUSA team. Some people have been said publicly on social media. There's been a lot of back and forth, and people are sifting through all of this stuff. So you're asking why TPUSA is lying about simple things, or are you talking about one person says something and they misspoke? Or one person says, does that necessarily constitute a lie? The descriptor in it being a lie is that's coming from Candace, or that's coming from you, or that's coming from someone else. You're saying, well, that's a lie. Well, no, you give me context to tell me how that's a lie. How somebody says something. He says the key to the roof. Well, had he been on the roof? Did he know that there was a key to the roof? Was he trying to make some emotional point because he's a young guy who doesn't know any better? I don't know. I mean, there's a million ways you could go with it other than saying that TPUSA is sitting out here lying about everything, and that's just not the case. I don't have any evidence for that, and you don't either. You don't have any evidence other than Candace saying, oh, TPUSA is lying. I don't want to know why they're lying about their tax records. Lying about their tax records? I want to know why there's missing tax documents. No, it's because if you go and look up nonprofits, half the ones you look at are going to have their last filing is going to be 2 or 3 years ago. And I know that because I've done it. I've looked up literally hundreds of nonprofits. Go to that. You can look up nonprofits, their EIN. Just find whichever one you want to. Do a nonprofit search. Find their EIN. It's publicly available on the internet. You go to the IRS website. You go to the nonprofit search on the IRS website. You plug in the EIN. You find the organization. You go there, and it'll show you all their tax records. It's pretty simple. Doesn't mean they're lying. Anyway, okay, guys. Yeah, I'm tired of chasing down that stuff. So, P.O. Box Christmas, I appreciate you coming into the chat. You've given us some great entertainment, some great stuff. However, I'm not going to sit here and chase down Candace Owens conspiracies all night long because most of them are simply her. Look, she's just making nonsense up. She's spitting it out there on the internet, and people assume because she's a big podcast that she's being honest. Well, she's not. We don't have any evidence of that either. I'm waiting for receipts. Love to see some of these receipts. And maybe I'll give you some receipts. Maybe I'll have some receipts, but you got to watch the next show if you want those. That's how it works around here. Okay, guys, I'm going to go hang out with my wife. I think I appreciate all you all. You all are awesome. I'm going to P.O. Box Christmas. Thank you for coming back on. I appreciate you. I'm going to go back up through the chat. Vex Cuomo, welcome. Let's see. The Real KC, you're keeping it real. You were, golly, I've thrown you up all over the chat tonight, and I appreciate it. You were the first one in, my first chatter. You're awesome. Timothy, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate it. I don't know what you were referencing there. We've got a lot of returned folks. Heart love. Coming back. We got a great crew, guys. So if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button, that like button, and the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video is released. Otherwise, YouTube's just going to keep me hidden from you. And how horrible, how boring would your Thursday night have been without coming here to Continue Freedom, to hang out with me and all my folks here in the chat. This wonderful community we're building. Let's see. Oh, I missed one here. Let's see. 12 years military has been looking for. Well, that's interesting. That might be a rabbit hole for another day. Dana Phipps, you gave me a long one here. I didn't see that comment. I missed it. An ex-military guy on the run that stumbled into a meeting with 12 guys planning. Has been looking for him for 35 years and wanted to say let him go out. That's an interest. I don't know what that's referencing, but I will. I'll have to check that one out. I'll screenshot it and see what you're talking about. But I do have to end the live stream. Let's see. Who have I not mentioned that's one of our return guests? Janie, thank you so much for coming back. I truly appreciate it. And let's see. I don't know if that was a pro or a con, but towards me, but it's a good quote. There you go. Let's see. There. Oh, okay. Boy, now I'm seeing other comments that I missed, and I got to throw them up there. Sorry, they're good ones. Nice one, Timothy. All right. Okay. I think I got to everybody. I appreciate you guys. Y'all are awesome. Thanks so much. Again, subscribe button, like button, notification bell. That helps this channel. We are growing. We're building a great audience here, a great community. Thank y'all so much, and I will see you in the next video. God bless. Have a great night.